All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and to introduce you guys to my awesome guest. We have Lisa Jane, who is out in South Africa, and really excited to chat with her today. I came across her Instagram page not too long ago and immediately sent her a voice message, told her that she was an awesome human being and that I would love to have a fun conversation with her on the podcast. And she thankfully obliged, and that is what we're going to have today. And so without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Lisa Jane, and you can share with the audience so they're more familiar with you. I can give you a better introduction. Lisa is a spiritual teacher, and I love on her Instagram what stood out immediately. Says she's a caretaker of souls, which I love that. That definitely hit home for me. So without further ado now for me, let me introduce you guys to Lisa Jane. And you can share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all this good stuff.
I'm not very good at talking about myself, but I'll try my very best. Basically, I am an energy healer and spiritual teacher, and I've been doing this for 5 years now. Most of my life I've been connected, but not in the way that most people probably imagine, is that it was an ability I had to kind of read people, if that makes sense. So I always knew what someone was thinking and what someone was feeling. And sometimes as a youngster, this was a bit overwhelming because there wasn't always something I could do about it. And then only later in life, I spent 24 years in corporate, in IT. So there's something to be said about hanging in there until it's your time to come into the world as a heart-centered being. And then at about 5 years ago, there was just a strong calling. I had to do this. I had to jump into this. And so here I am, actually, briefly. Yeah. After a whole series of life events that, were challenging and courageous. And I think the path of being authentic is really one that I've followed most of my life. And I've certainly raised my kids to kind of go that route. And I think more and more, the world is asking of us to stay in our heart center and be as authentic as possible, as real as possible. So that's how I found myself here.
I love it. So what I'm already hearing and sensing, which I love, is when you mentioned being authentic, just being who we truly are, which is really why I do what I do. I love helping people remember who all of us truly are, which I think we all knew when we came here as little unconditional, loving little babies, and we were just bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, looking around, super present. And then for a lot of us, I won't say all ever, but for a lot of us, we forget who that truly is, and we start comparing ourselves to other humans and asking, are we enough? And all these things that we go through that end up being, very challenging times in our lives that show up in different ways. And then for everybody, I'm so excited. And the reason I do what I do is to help the light bulb come back on where we can remember who we truly are and be authentic, like you mentioned. And that's so much fun then, because then we can really, start to truly live and to be, whatever it is that we feel like we came here to be and do what we came here to do. So for you and your journey, you mentioned being able to read people at an early age. How did your journey go as a youngster? Did you just go from that unconditional loving little baby and just evolve all the way through, never forgot who you truly are? Or did it happen a little different?
No, absolutely not. And I mean, I think that's the thing, just on authenticity there, Noel, is that a lot of people chase their soul purpose. What is it here that I'm meant to do? What is it here that I'm meant to be? And really the only thing is that one thing I can say is that the soul only knows truth. So if you want to follow the path of your soul, you're going to have to follow a path of truth, which isn't always easy. Of course, there's some decisions to make. But no, if you really want to know about my upbringing, I was the pacifier. I was a peacemaker. I grew up in quite a violent home. My mother was an alcoholic. And so I have early memories of being a little tot and then trying to calm everyone down. So I suppose my role as a healer really started off very young. And I just had the ability to remain calm no matter what. And only in later life did I realize that's actually who I was. So I suppose you could say that I've been in touch with that truth since being really young. But in terms of actually really acting on that in a role as a career, as a purpose, only came later in life. Once a whole lot of healing had happened, because that's also the path of the truth, really, isn't it? It's a path of healing, as well as a path of authenticity. So I was a big peacemaker and a rescuer, I suppose. A lot of people follow this root of a healer as being a wounded healer, they call it. So you've either come from some background that has triggered something that has led you on a very strong healing path. But actually at the moment, I think, Noel, is that in the world with what we're going through is that everyone is on a healing path. And that can be very difficult, or it can be very uplifting. It depends on what it is that your soul has chosen when you come into this life. Yeah.
I love it. I love what you just highlighted right there. And the difficulty or the ease I find when it comes to our journeys is due to how much we're aware of, as far as how much we're consciously aware of what's going on. And that's why I love doing what I do, because once the light bulb can come on and we can remember, who and what we all truly are. And so I stopped teasing you guys. What I mean by that is, and you guys have listened to the podcast, you know what I mean by that, but all of us, even though, we look at Lisa and say, oh, that's Lisa Jane. We look at Noelle and we say, oh, that's Noelle. These are just the physical avatars that are housing the non-physical energy that is flowing to and through, and it's who all of us truly are. Some might call that non-physical energy God, universe, love, all it is, source, spirit, force, infinite intelligence, nature, whatever you want to relate to. But that's who we all truly are. And when we realize that we're just different expressions of that, then life becomes so much fun, because now I can look at my brothers and sisters in humanity, all 7.7 billion of you, and be really excited when you're on your journey and you're creating something that you're really passionate about, which is helping the entire collective, have a more awesome life experience, because we all get to participate in whatever it is that all of us create. And so I just love so much when we can, on purpose, start to become aware of what we need to be aware of on our journey. And the challenges are really what we're going to grow because of the challenges anyway. They might be challenging in the moment. Like right now is a very challenging time for humanity. And at the same time, what I'm noticing for individuals and, as a whole, is asking ourselves, what is it that we would really like to see in our lives? What is it that we would like to see for humanity? Because the way it is right now, has caused this, and it's not working. We need to allow ourselves to evolve, maybe stop fighting it and stop fighting each other, be able to come together and create something that, we can all, thrive in. And that's where I see humanity going right now, even in the most challenging of times. So please speak on anything that you're inspired to speak about when it comes to what you see right now.
Yeah, no, well, what you're talking about, and I'll say Noelle, sorry, I was calling you Noel in the beginning, so I apologize.
I hear it both ways, but thank you. It is Noelle, but I hear it both ways now. People have been saying both my whole life.
I like Noelle. I'll go with the Noelle. And yes, just to build on what you were talking about, is I think the main thing that we're growing towards, or actually humanity is beginning to learn, is that we have so much more potential. And I suppose as a seer of energy, someone who sees people for who they are in terms of their soul energy, is that there is immense potential in every human being. So when I step into an individual person's energy field, it is like this magical universe. Of course, I'm also there to heal, but the fact that I can feel it and see it is really what inspired me to go on this path. I mean, my actual company name is The Light in You, and that's not just me, of course, is that everybody, is that there is this spark of potential and absolute creator life force that is there, that we can use to actually build a life of our dreams and build a life of everyone else's dreams as a collective, as one global field. And so that potential, as humans, I call us God's greatest experiment in distraction, because from the time we land here, we are distracted away from ourselves, and we're distracted away from our potential. And all of the institutions, the family, the parental, the society, education routes we come through denies that fact. Right, so it's a continual path, like you said, Noelle, back to that self and a remembrance of who you are, when in actual fact, you've never really been given an opportunity to become exposed to that aspect of yourself. And those facilities we've had available that might have built that, like religion and other means, have done the opposite. And this is no disrespect to religion, of course. It's just that it squashed our potential, as opposed to enabled us to move into our potential. And that's why I'm passionate about what I do. So in my work as a healer, if I can move anything out of the way that is going to enable a person to step into their heart center, because that's really the most powerful place, and to really begin to express themselves, then I will continue doing this work for as long as I can.
I love it. What you said in there, out of my favorite thing for anybody to be, is that light that you just described, to be able to step into and to be, who they truly are, be that light. And right now, if someone out there, maybe you're not right now called to being a teacher or a healer or, you know, whatever it is. But by being who you truly are, by being that light, the impact that you can make on not only yourself, are you going to be able to now be able to access that, those thoughts and ideas, the synchronicities, the parts of, you know, the questions that you're asking on how can I, you know, have this created in my life for better health or relationships or abundance or, you know, for humanity or whatever the questions that you may be asking out there, but also the upliftment that we can give to everybody around us right now by being that light. What I know about human beings, you know, for most of us, before we have the light bulb come back on, it's easier for us to pay attention to what's already manifested, like what's already like in the physical. Like it's easy for us to look at and, you know, put our intention and our energy there, which we can bring that into a part of our frequency, which is what makes it really challenging when every news story right now is about, you know, a lot of the stuff that's really negative. It was just heavy, dense energy as far as what's being shown. And you kind of really have to seek out to be able to see the beauty and what's still going on in the world right now. So when you can be that light for people that are witnessing you, then they can now feel that frequency, and now they can be reminded of who they truly are. And maybe that could spark the light into them to where they can choose to go out and be the light, and it can start a ripple effect. And just doing that can mean so much benefit to humanity right now. So I love that, what you just described, and obviously very passionate about seeing people's light shine and all of those things. So what are you excited about right now as far as where humanity is headed, or, you know, what do you see as far as what's going on right now through all this?
Well, obviously I have a different perspective, and, you know, this is no disrespect to all those people that are going through a lot of hardship and suffering and fear, because it is very prominent in many people's lives, is that from a spiritual perspective, I have felt for a number of years now that we're heading towards a turning point. And a lot of my information comes through in terms of symbolism and imagery. So it was kind of like the big wheel was kind of grinding to a halt, and we were about to move to another direction, in another direction. I wasn't sure of the timing of that, but at the beginning of this year, I remember saying to my partner that something is going to happen. It just feels very imminent. There's something around the corner. And so my belief, and it's just my belief, it may not be true for everybody else, but it is that we are on a turning point. We have come to a tipping point where the majority of the people of the planet are suffering in some way. You know, even those that are relatively affluent, the depression rates are up, suicide rates are up, anxiety levels are up, and a lot of stuff is not working. And I think the collective has sent out that message saying it's not working for the majority of people. We want a better life. We want a more calm life, a more peaceful life. And so for me, I describe it in terms of energy matrices, you know, Noel, is that there are various matrices at play in the planet. And one of the big ones that is crippling at the moment, or crumbling, is the whole matrix around ego, the whole matrix around money and greed. And so the shift to a new way of being is in process. But for that to happen, the old has to crumble. And that's really what I can see actually out in the collective, and even, you know, kind of new clients and people I'm talking to who maybe would not even have considered a spiritual way of looking at things, are now saying, hang on, something else is happening. You know, everyone's being forced into their homes, they're being forced to be quiet, they're being forced to spend time with their loved ones, because that's also happening, is a return to the family unit, because community is built off the family unit. And if the family unit has broken down and the parents don't speak to the kids or vice versa, then the community cannot build on that. And so for me, it's kind of also a return to that basic unit of society, which is the family, and really connecting with loved ones and being appreciative and grateful. That in itself will provide an immensely powerful energetic springboard for us to begin to make changes that are going to help us turn in the other direction. I don't know whether that's answered your question, but that's my sense of what's happening at the moment, Noel.
It's perfect for what it needed to be shared. And that's why I asked it that way, as far as, because I'm always thinking about, for me, what's already physically manifested is already physically manifested. So all the reasons why there's so many, like, and there's so many possibilities, like infinite possibilities. So the reason I asked the question that way is because springboarding from here, now I want to know what people are excited about for themselves and for humanity. And it's so beautifully answered. And yeah, there's, no matter how much money that you have, or no matter what your lifestyle has been, you're in the house right now for the most part.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting, Noel, for me is that what this situation has also provided is a very strong influx of creative energy. You know, you're at home, you've got nothing more to do. So what are most people doing? Most people are tapping into the creative side of themselves. And for me, that's extremely powerful because, like you said, when it's happened on the outside, the change has already happened in the inside. So a lot of people go out looking, waiting for that job or that person, but the changes inside still need to be done. And like I say to a lot of my clients, is once that does come from the outside, well, you've done all the work. It's the end point. It's not the beginning, you know, as you mentioned earlier. And so Noel, for me, is that creative energy that's being generated in each family unit or each person who's at home in their apartment doing creative things is just acting as a magnet for more creative source energy to come in for us to act on that. And in each individual, because that's what it takes. It only takes one person to make a change, for each individual to gather collectively to turn this big wheel in the direction of the positive.
I love that. What you said right there is so powerful for just, I must highlight it for everybody in the audience. When you said so many of us, and this was my greatest weakness at one point in my life, of trying to manipulate and maneuver things on the outside in order to feel good on the inside. Like I call it the I'll be happy when syndrome. I'll be happy when I have the relationship, I have the money, I have the health, or whatever it is. And for me, that led to depression of just not feeling good enough, not knowing if I was going to be able to be successful or any of these things. And I love how you worded it as far as if we, can go within, which a lot of people are doing right now, which is awesome. Like I'm hearing about people meditating for the first time, because they have all this extra time on their hands. And I'm like, that's awesome. It's a great way to spend your time. And, when you start seeing things show up from the outside, then you've already done the work. I love how you just worded that.
And Noelle, if you think about that, because everything is actually, we know everything is energy, right? And it's actually quite a simple concept. Because if you're working from that base point of being present, mindful, and being creative, you are in fact doing that. You're creating in each moment. And of course, we're busy humans and we kind of get distracted by a whole lot of things. But if we can begin to be more mindful and realize that with each moment, each word, each action, each thought, you are creating a potential reality for yourself and others, then it becomes a very, very powerful place in which people can live from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So from that respect, it's exciting what's going on, but at the same time, I also feel the suffering, and a lot of people feel that suffering in order for us to do the changeover. So, I hold the optimism and the positivity, of course, but at the same time, I hold all of those that are suffering in my heart and work with it in that way, with compassion and respect and all of those things. Yeah,
absolutely. I'm inspired to share something with the audience that because what I just described was my greatest weakness at one point, what has become my greatest strength today is hyper focus on present moment and what's my vibration, energy, frequency, mood right here and now, which is in truth all that any of us can control is, what am I going to bring to life? Am I going to be the light right here and now? And that can give everybody out there so much peace versus trying to figure out how all this is going to happen or when the country is going to open back up or all these questions to answers to questions that we don't have the answers to right here and now. But what we can do is ask ourselves, well, can I be at peace right now? Can I just allow things to continue to unfold? Can I be the light right here in this moment for myself and for those around me? Can I be optimistic that everything is working out for me and for humanity? And as a result, we'll be able to one, enjoy the moment, which, because if we're spending this moment and this moment, frustrated, worried, anxious, angry, upset, blaming, all of these things, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those frequencies as part of the human experience. However, there are some things that come with that, like, synchronicities that we don't really enjoy, like illness and things where even if there wasn't a virus going around, we'd be vulnerable to these types of things if we're allowing our frequency to consistently be in one where your frequency matched to illness and disease. So just because there's a virus going around right now that is seems to be more prevalent and spread easily or more easily and all these things, you still, if you're a frequency matched to well-being, a frequency matched to wellness, that's going to be your life. That's going to be how you live. And that's been my message like throughout this is, regardless of how it's happened and why it's happening or any of that, like let's be a frequency matched to well-being, to wellness, and then allow ourselves to live that way.
Exactly. And Noelle, also living in the present moment, what you're doing energetically is you're really calling all of your energy back. Because, you know, if you imagine yourself as an energy vortex and basically thoughts, actions, or, you know, you're living in the past, you're literally putting your energy in those areas. So you're not accumulating or bringing together all of the energy that could be you in that potential moment. So what mindfulness and being present does really, it acts a bit like a whirlwind, right? It acts as a gatherer. And what it does is it starts slowly gathering up all of those energetic tendrils that you've left all over. And as that happens, you become stronger and stronger on the inside energetically and can therefore bring those things towards you. So in fact, it's not even, it is a matter of attraction, but for me, what I see often is that it's the magnetism, it's that vortex of energy that starts bringing towards you those things that are in your highest good and are for your healing. And that is done by really working with yourself very energetically in the present moment. And like you say, with all of those vibrations that are in the higher end of the spectrum, you know, joy, bliss. One thing I have to mention, Noelle, too, is play. You know, a lot of people, and especially adults, disregard play as something that is energetically of a higher frequency, and they kind of say just love and light, which yes, it is. But play and being childlike and being really in the moment is one of the most powerful energies to bring or call all your energy back and actually be a very strong creative force. Yeah. So I hope you're doing some playing too, and not just working.
Can't you tell? I'm like a little kid over here. I'm just, this is the way that I choose to live. Like, usually, it's just, I probably use the word fun more than any other word because it's just something that I look for, and I know the only moment is promised is right now for all of us. So not taking it for granted. If there's anything that I'm doing, I love what you just said about the vortex and being able to, what happens when we bring our energy back to the present. What I share with people is like with the higher frequencies, like we have words in the English language like bliss, euphoria, nirvana, ecstasy to describe like really powerful momentum carrying frequencies that we all really love. But the cool thing about energy and frequency is we can go beyond those words. We're just trying to describe something that feels really good, but we can go beyond that. And the way to do it is what you just said, is by bringing our attention back to the present. So if you find yourself out there enjoying anything, it doesn't matter to me what it is. Like if you think about a little kid, they could be playing with a stick or a leaf and they're having so much fun. Like they're not thinking about anything else that's going on in the world. So we can use that example and be hyper focused on that present moment when we are enjoying it. The momentum will carry us up to frequencies where we're like, wow, I'm having the time of my life right now. And you know, it can happen for all of us. So that's my advice to anyone, is to be so present, not thinking about, you know, should I be doing something else, or is this going, because then your energy is split, so you can't allow momentum to really carry you to those frequencies.
Exactly. But what sometimes happens, you know, Noelle, is that when you're in the present moment, you actually become clearer about those things that are really not good for you. So think of it, the concept of the vortex again, and you're pulling it back in. You might have a thought sitting over here that is quite a negative, self-berating thought. And the space of the quiet and being present brings it closer, which can be uncomfortable because, of course, when you're busy and chattering and out of the present moment, you kind of, you know, you can ignore that a bit. It can kind of just sit on the side. But when you're mindful and present, those things come closer. And instead of scaring us when they come closer, it's more a realization, oh, I see you, I'm aware of you, you know, you don't resonate with me anymore, and a slow process of just letting it go. So that's really what the vortex also creates, is an opportunity to bring those things closer that are not aligned with your highest good and healing. Purely from a matter of being aware, because, you know, there's a lot of people that keep themselves busy because they don't want to be silent. They don't want to hear what things are chattering in their mental field or something they feel. So in that sense, you almost become hypersensitive to your field. So you're not only being present and creating a vortex, but you're creating a very sensitive awareness of what's going on. And if you can start to listen to that and work with it, then you can move to a place where you will be holding a higher vibration, which is good for you and it's good for everybody else, right? Because then everyone else loves being around you because that's what you're emitting. It's really, that's what we are. We're transmitters and receivers. And so it's, what am I receiving and what am I transmitting? On a very simplistic level, of course. I'm, you know, not denying the complexity of it, but that's how I like to see it.
I love it. That's so much fun, this conversation. And as one quick insert that I want to insert with what Lisa Jane just shared is, when we bring things closer to us in the present moment and we are connected, you know, we're in those, say we're just at peace and content. Like we're not trying to figure out all of life's questions right here and now. So we're at a place where we're connected with God, universe, love, all that is, source, whatever we want to call this non-physical energy. Now we have a higher point of view. We have a different point of view on all of these maybe challenging things. So we can receive insight from the perspective of source when it comes to these things. So we're not thinking from a place of, oh my gosh, I'm so worried about this, and trying to figure out a solution to a problem from an energy of frustration or worry, all you have access to is more frustrating and worrying thoughts, which will probably cause momentum to where now you're scared. Now you're feeling powerless, depressed. These frequencies, it's just momentum. So I love what you said, when we can call things towards us and we have that higher point of view to where we can actually have answers come to us about whatever questions we may have, or it's just a
Absolutely.
better, yeah.
And that's always the first step, Noel. As someone who wants to develop their psychic abilities or their intuition, I always say you've got to look within first. The first step is self-awareness, because what the self-awareness is you're starting to develop a higher way of listening and a higher way of hearing things. And from there, you kind of move on up. And of course, there's one source of universal wisdom that is accessible to everybody, but we kind of move up in processes. And it doesn't mean you have to do it, step by step. You might get there first and then come down here. But basically it does. It opens you up to a lot of wisdom that you can apply to yourself and to others, because it's all there waiting. And I don't think any one person has a stronger connection than any other. It's just a matter of fine tuning it and deciding what is right for you and how you gain your access to your wisdom. And yeah, everyone has the potential.
Absolutely. I've been saying for a while, there's no special breed of human. Like, we all have this non-physical energy. But if there's any special breed of human, we're all special, because we all have this non-physical energy.
Exactly.
So however you want to look at it, there's no like, they only have the energy over there. Like, we don't have, like, that doesn't exist.
And that's, for me, I started using a new hashtag called the hashtag the new human, because for me, that's where we're moving. We're moving to a place where you realize you're not just this flesh, blood, and the chattering mind. There is so much more, and that fundamentally, first and foremost, you are an energetic and vibrational being. So for me, the hashtag new human is someone who realizes their vibration. And Noel, that also comes in terms of words, right? We can't expect to hold a high vibration if we're saying words that really aren't kind, or words that are disrespectful. A lot of people forget that. So it's one thing having words you say to yourself in your field, but there are other people that just throw it out there. And for me, I can see that as a visible stream of energy that is really not pleasant for anybody. So the words are spells, words are magic in and of themselves. So if even you bring that awareness to you, to kind of stop and think, what words am I using today? What world am I creating with the words that I allow out of my mouth? Because that is a very powerful way of creating your own magic, for good or bad, actually.
Absolutely. Words are such great indicators of what vibration, like, we're having, what thoughts are bouncing around our head. Because if it's coming out of your mouth, that means it already started off as a thought in your mind, and the fact that you're saying it is the fact. That's the frequency that you're on. So we could use it as a great indicator. You're saying something that's unkind, like, that's just a great reminder. Like, hey, like, maybe you might want to pay attention to this, because if we just ignore it, it has to matter to us. This is what I want for anyone, that your frequency, your vibration, your energy, your mood actually matters to you. And you understand what's reflecting out into your life and into the world as a result of that. And your words are it's a great indicator. We could be so thankful for being aware and noticing, anything, any synchronicity that we really don't enjoy. Like, we could use that as an indicator. Symptoms of illness, great indicator of what's my vibration, what's my frequency, what's my mood been leading up to this symptom. It doesn't have to turn into a full-fledged, like, anything. You could just be like, ooh, I have been a little bit stressed. I have been a little bit worried. Thank you for the indicator. I'm really appreciative for it. Now I can make an adjustment if you choose to. So I love that.
And Noel, when you said earlier about what matters, it's a case of responsibility. And that's a lot, I say that a lot of times, is that, you as a person need to be responsible and take responsibility for your words and your actions and everything else. So it's about, yes, acknowledging that it matters, but also taking responsibility and realizing you have an opportunity to choose. And I think, this pause that we're all finding ourselves in, because that's really what it is, right? It's a pause before the wheel starts turning, is a step back to say, right, how am I responsible for my life? How am I responsible for the way I behave? And the new human is really someone who's both divine and human. It doesn't mean we're all going to float off and ascend, to the other world. It's actually a really basic human thing to take care of one another, to be in community with one another, to kind of show love to our fellow humans, to, want to help those that are less fortunate. It is our natural state. It's just that our community grew so big, to 8 billion, that we've lost that. And that's why I said earlier, I think we are kind of being reversed in a way by really coming back to our own homes, to our own family, and looking at what's happening there. so that as a nucleus that can then go out into the world and then reflect in the broader terms of community and society. So we are kind of being forced to take a step back, and just become our natural self, which is a loving, compassionate human. I believe it. Maybe I'm overly optimistic or naive, but that is my fundamental belief, and it's what drives my work.
I love it. No such thing as overly optimistic. You know that. And I'm so excited that that's your vision and that you're going in that direction, because you attract people like me where that's my vision too. Like I see a humanity where everybody has the light bulb on, they know who and what they truly are. And the only question they're asking themselves is what sounds most fun, what sounds most fulfilling? And then going out and living that out, because really we all can. And we're spending time doing anything that we feel like we need to do. You know, it's okay to be there, to spark the desire for, I would like to be doing this with my time and spending this time with my family and traveling and doing all these things. I just see a humanity where we know that we can be doing, have anything. And it's not a question of, am I good enough? Because we're all made of the same stuff. We're just different expressions of it. So I love it. I see the same thing.
And Noel, I think that's also going to be changing, you know, with a lot of people staying at home and having the opportunity to think. There are going to be a lot of people that step out of the corporates and say, well, I don't have to be part of this slave trade. You know, I don't have to be part of the ladder and climb to this and kind of end up with a pension and retirement. I'm actually going to do something that gives me joy, because that's what it's about. It's not, you know, always about helping others. You first go in and decide, what is it that makes me happy? And in you being happy, you make others happy, and you hold the vibration of happiness. So I really believe that coming out of this, in fact, I'd love to see some statistics of people who leave their job, you know, people who maybe their marriage has been cancelled and they decide, actually, I don't want to marry that person, or people who are with the wrong person in the house and shift that. It's really all about each one moving to something more that makes them happy. And I think that is what this hiatus, this pause is also going to offer people, is the opportunity. And it does take courage, absolutely. And I'm not denying there are changes to be made. But I think it's going to, you know, it's going to ask of people, what is it that makes you happy? What is it that brings you joy? What is it? And that's going to take us to a higher place, like you said, to have a vibration of being happy, content, and at peace with who you are and what you're doing. Yeah.
I love it.
And I'm not saying overnight, but it is going to happen, you know. My kids will often say, oh, Mom, stop with the optimistic stuff, or you're being a bit naive. But, you know, I love them dearly. They know that it comes from a good heart. So, but I do. It's my truth that I hold, and I can't let go of that. It's who I am.
I love it. I love it so much. And just know, everybody out there, any question that we ask to the universe, as far as what does make me happy, what can I do to live a life of fulfillment, of fun, when we start asking those questions and we start paying attention to all the answers that will find us in various ways, like all the answers to life's questions will be answered for us, like in perfect time, and we're ready to actually use them. We just have to ask the question and actually pay attention, like want to know the answer, and to be able to, you know, give some energies, give some attention to the answers that come, so that you can get the life experience, which will provide clarity. And maybe that's the direction that you'll keep going. Or maybe you're like, okay, I got this life experience, so now I'm going to take this and go to this direction with that new clarity. And it's how it happens for all of us. So I love it so much.
And Noel, what I often say to people is, if you want to know what your purpose is or where you're headed to, anything that makes you feel alive is going in the right direction. And also, rather than dropping into your head about questions, you look inside energetically, and anything that makes you feel expanded. So you're thinking of a question or a decision, do I want to do that, or do I not want to do that? And you feel expanded and joyous about it and then alive, go do it. If you're thinking about a decision and you suddenly want to just constrict and contract, that's a no. You know, that's your heart center giving you very clear guidance. You don't have to go through all the pros and cons. You will immediately feel, am I expanded into this, or am I constricted and contracted into this? Expansion is a yes, and constriction is a no. You know, so that's a very easy test and of course, then you have to step into that truth, have the boldness and courage to do that. But that's a test that I offer people when they're in doubt or they don't know. Just feel it, feel the expansion or contraction, and just move with that. And that's another place we're going to, is a place of more flow, a place of more flexibility. You can see it now. People have had to change. Big IT systems have had to change. People have had to think on the move. You know, how are we going to solve this? That's going to be the way of the new world, is that it's more of a flow, it's more of a connection, it's more of a following a feeling, an expansion and contraction, rather than overly thinking something.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. For you guys that are listening in live right now, that are on the Zoom with us, if you guys have any questions for the conversation, you want this conversation to go in a direction, if you hit the hand raise button, I'll bring you on video. you want to just stay off the video and you want to type it in the chat, feel free, or you can do audio. But just giving that for you guys out there. If you're watching this on any of the streams on Facebook or anywhere else, there's a link there that you can join us on the Zoom if you want to. You can hit the registration and you can join us and ask questions on here. I'm not looking at, I can't see the Facebook or anything, so all the questions are being asked through here. So just FYI, if anybody has anything. But such a fun conversation. This is awesome. I love this. So right now, the time of this recording, I love the internet is going to live probably for a very long time. Probably outlive most of us here in the physical right now. And so what I'm always curious about, knowing someone could be attracted to this either live or when it's released in a few weeks or 100 years from now. And you've been doing this the whole time, but anything that flows out of you that you want, humanity to know that you feel would make an impact. You've been doing it the whole time, so you could easily say, just refer to the rest of our conversation. But anything that you want people to become aware of.
No, I agree with you, Noel. And that's how it happens, right? You send it out there, and whoever it is meant to land with, it will land, and it will resonate, and then they'll make a return call. And that's how everything works. And so I think that's the thing with information, right? You share it, and it's not for everybody. Not everyone enjoys the information, but it will go where it needs to. And that's right, it's trust. We're stepping to a place where we need to trust more. Trust that everything is aligned to the highest good, and trust that everything is in divine order, and we're going where we need to go. For me, anyway, in South Africa, I really have great faith in my leader, President Cyril Ramaphosa. I mean, I think he's an amazing guy. And my belief, and yes, everyone probably thinks I'm crazy, but South Africa and the African nation is rising. I can feel all the ancestors coming back, the light is building. And I think we are going to be one of the leaders in consciousness in the way forward. And of course, I can't say timing wise, but I think just the way we're handling things at the moment with what's happening in our country and all of the help and the compassion and the money running in is actually just a really positive sign that we are going to make it and we'll be okay. So, yeah.
I love it. I'm happy to hear when it comes to anything that is optimism or excitement when it comes to like leadership is always very exciting for me. And I like to remind people, regardless if that's how you feel, wherever you are in the world or not, about your leadership, the actual challenges in any area of life, and we'll just take leadership as an example, are what sparks the desire for what we'd like to now see. And so if that's something that you out there listening, you feel really, really strongly about, you can ask, what is it that I would like to see? And then not need to know right now in the moment how you're going to do something about it or when or where, what it's going to look like. But just now you've asked that question of the universe, and now you're ready to receive answers that will come in so many different ways. Like you can all of a sudden discover a group of people that also want to see the same vision as you. And now you're participating in that vision. You guys are creating something new for that, part of life. And that's how it always works. So try not to, for you out there, just best advice, appreciate the challenges or the challenging people in your life or the challenging leaders in your life or whatever it is for giving you new clarity as far as, like, I know I don't want more of that. So this is what I would like to see. And then, leave the baggage there. Like we don't, as human beings, we don't have to bring the challenging baggage, like the trauma. We don't have to bring that into the present. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. You can take the lessons and the new clarity, bring that into the present, and then focus your attention and energy on that, which is what creates a new physical manifestation. And what you want to see doesn't exist yet, physically, but it exists in your energy. And if you put more attention on it, then it turns into physical manifestation. So I love that you're optimistic already about what you are seeing where you are in South Africa. Haven't been there yet, but I'm excited to go.
I know, but then you must come and visit. Come and join us for a trip in Cape Town.
Absolutely. It's on my, it's high up on my list of places to visit. Warmer climate, which I enjoy.
And Noel, to do everything with a sense of humor. I mean, I think that's the big thing, right? Is sometimes we can get too serious with ourselves and what's happening around us, and without dismissing everything, holding a sense of humor, even if it's a dark sense of humor, in times where things are tough, helps to lighten the spirit. And so this time, I mean, you would also probably have been exposed to them, is that while we are having the serious information around the corona, there are a lot of really funny memes and videos going around, and that kind of just creates a sense of, okay, let's just take a deep breath, we've got this. So yeah, everything with a small dose of humor, actually.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Like, and if we can also be discerning of the information that we take in, that we are noticing by the attention we give to it and the story we have about it is causing us to feel really heavy, dense energy, where like if you know that when you watch this channel, it's just always like, because of how you pay attention to it and the story you have about it and how you receive it, you just feel worse every time. Might be a great idea to not watch that channel again. Like, doesn't mean that you still can't get information, but maybe just be discerning of where we get the information. And I agree, like there's so many people that are keeping things lighthearted. I'm always going to be lighthearted because I really don't, again, my view on everything is the challenge is what's causing the new desire. And I'm just excited about where we're headed. Like, I'm always looking at where we're headed and enjoying the now, which is how we get to where we're headed. And if we can enjoy the whole journey all the way through, then, I look at life as so simple. It's like, I have this moment right here now. That's all that truly exists. And if I have enough really cool moments today, then it was a really good day. If I have enough really cool days, and it was a good week. If I have enough really cool weeks, it was a good year. If I have enough cool years, like, it's an awesome life. But it all starts in this moment to this moment. So if I'm giving this moment away to, fears, doubts, and worries about an unpromised future that's not promised to any of us, that's your choice. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't do that. I used to do that a lot in the past. And now I've chosen that I prefer to, out of all the options that I do have, like you just mentioned a second ago, like maybe I don't have as many options as far as what I can choose to do right here and now as I did, a few weeks ago. But I do have some options. And out of those, like, which one feels like the most like energy giving, like not the contraction, but the expansion, like you mentioned. I love it. Yeah. So that's a choice for all of us. And I'm excited for everybody to choose things right now that, uplifts them and those around them and that they want to see in their life. And the cool thing is they can get a lot of momentum right now going in any direction that is important to you. And that's what I'm choosing to do. That's obviously what you're choosing to do. And I root for everybody out there to choose that. Yeah.
And Noel, to know that we're all on the mothership Earth, we're on this one ship, and it is only one. We don't have another one, and I think that's the thing, is that we're all together in this. And so that's one positive, I suppose, of the corona, is that it's bringing people together. I would never have had the opportunity potentially to speak to you had this not happened. So it is a matter of removing the segregations, realizing we are all one global community, and just working on that, and that each person counts. We're all in it together. Yeah.
You were going to be attracted into my path either way. It's just the perfect timing because we get to talk about all this stuff and it's so relevant, which is awesome. Yep. You would have been attracted within seconds of going on Lisa's Instagram. I was like, this is awesome. Like, her Instagram is, and all her links will be when this comes out, but on Instagram, she's the multi-dimensional mother. I know there's some dots and periods in there somewhere, underscores, so we'd have to post it for you to which is awesome. And then I saw Caretaker of Souls. So I was like, this is a human that I want to be talking with. I don't know where the conversation will go, but it will be awesome.
Well, I hope the conversation was enjoyable at the very least.
Was for me.
You take what resonates and you drop what doesn't. That's what I tell everybody. But it was really nice to have a conversation with you, and I thank you for your time and for kind of connecting with me. I want to put myself out there. I'm not one of those kind of people. I'm kind of a bit of an introvert and behind the scenes person. So me feeling that I need to talk now, which is what I'm being nudged with by Spirit, is uncomfortable at times. But I continue to share and continue to keep reaching out. And there are people that my information lands on and helps. So I'm appreciative of that. But yes, very appreciative of your time and really just lending a hand and saying, come and talk to me. It was great. It was really good to connect with you. And I can feel you're a very expanded, vibrationally high human being. So you just keep up that energy. You're like on high octane. So keep going. I'm sure you have some dips, and then hopefully do things that take care of yourself. But yeah, you're doing great. Just hold the energy. And I think that's amazing. It's very, very infectious, and people feel that. And so good on you. We need more people like you out there. Thank you, Noel.
I appreciate you saying all of that and reflect that love back to you. And this is a conversation I would have wanted to have with you anyway. And it's just, for me, it feels so good that we're living in 2020 and beyond, and we can record it and share it, like it's live streaming in a bunch of places. It's so awesome that we could share this loving energy with anyone that's attracted to receive it. So I'm just very appreciative of that. And it's helping me out a lot right now doing these podcasts because I'm like extreme extrovert and I love talking to people and being out and about. So this is like as close as I can get right now to having like fun conversations with humans. So I appreciate you for playing with me. I use the word play a lot, so I appreciate you playing with me in these fun frequencies. For those of you guys that are out here listening live, I appreciate you guys for bringing your energy as well. Like I can feel your co-creative energy, and we're all in this together. Everybody out here, and You want to promote to the audience anything that you have going on that they could work with you on things, or just connect with you on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that?
You know what, Noel, first I just want to thank everyone who's kind of, all my peeps who've kind of taken the time to come and listen to, I suppose, speak today. That really touches my heart. So thank you to those. And then, of course, yes, my social media is pretty much, if you Google the multidimensional mother, you'll find my YouTube and my Instagram and my Facebook. And I'm building the content more and more. I mean, I haven't always gone out there, but now I'm getting a really strong pull to offer the content. And really for people to ask, Noel, I think that's the one thing, is that I keep reminding people that I'm here. I'm not just here as a consult and to exchange a fee, but also for people to ask questions and to really get in touch with me if they've got really deep concerns. And I will always take the time to answer and send a message and just show that I'm here and I'm listening. I think that's the most important thing.
I love that. I appreciate that. And you guys that are on here, if you guys want to come on video, we can take like a group of, you're gonna be on the end of the video. Anybody that wants to undo their video, I'll put it on gallery. Smile to the smile.
No, come on, everyone. I'll put my face out there. You've at least got to put your face and just do a little group wave, just to see who's brave enough.
I'm gonna put it on. I'm putting it on gallery. There we go.
Hey, Anan. Hey, Jody. It's nice to see everybody, just to wave to them. Thank you so much for attending. I'm really, really deeply appreciative you took the time to come and listen. So yeah, big love and hugs to all those people that I can't be near right now, because of course we're all in our homes and we're separate. So thank you so much. There's my fan Damley. Hello peeps, they're also watching. Sorry,
are you all South Africa? All South Africa or different places? Awesome.
No, Jody is one of my clients from America. She's there, Jody. And then the rest are from South Africa, and clients and family, and some really good friends also present. Come on, Trish, show your face. So yeah, no, it was really fun. Thank you very much. And I mean, I love my people, I love my family, and yeah, I feel really blessed to have these beautiful people in my life, actually. But my clients, of course, are my biggest teachers. Noel, I'm not the guru. We're all learning.
Absolutely. What comes through when we can, when someone has something that we can share to make an impact, like what comes through is like a great reminder for us, and it feels really good coming through. And you know this, Lisa, how many times you say something was like, ooh, that was really good. Like I need to hear that too. So that's we're all co-creating together, which I love. So I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you.
So awesome. Thank you so much.
Our first collaboration, not the last though, Lisa. I'll always affirm that. Like I will definitely. I will reach out to you again, I'm sure, for future collaboration, and we'll see what capacity that looks like.
Thank you for your time, Noel. Thank you, and take care and be safe during this time. Everybody be safe, actually, during this time. Oh, thanks, Shivana.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Enlightened Conversations, live from South Africa. And appreciate all of you guys. Share this episode. It would be greatly impactful for anyone that you're inspired to share it with. And just excited for everybody out there right now. Definitely stay at a place of peace, stay at a place of optimism, so that you can be receptive to the things that you need to hear and see, so that you can continue to put momentum into the things that matter to you, and you're going to collectively help humanity by doing just that. So appreciate you all, and sending love and light to everyone whenever they hear this. And not just love and light and play to everyone when they.
I'll give you a hug if you're here, Noel, because I'm sure you're a good hugger like me. So.
Dude, I haven't had a real hug in like days. Reach out to your single extrovert friends out there, guys.
Yeah, hug and goodbye. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys.